Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. This is HD and welcome to another StarCraft 2 broadcast. I do apologize, I've been gone doing little intermittent breaks between my casts because I have been spending the last 3 or 4 days setting up a massive aquarium in my house. Don't ask me why, I just decided one day to pick up a huge aquarium and house a bunch of fish. Actually, the real reason is because I found this goldfish in a river stream and I felt so bad for it because it was like struggling, I felt like, to survive. So I picked it up, brought it home, put it in a little 1-gallon tank, and then I did some research and realized, well, you know what, fish actually need a lot more water than 1 gallon. So I set up a huge 55-gallon aquarium. Might as well go balls to the wall and never look back and regret it. And I'm trying to set up that aquarium right now, so I have been really busy being a fish man. And I've been trying to set that up. A lot of water splashing around my room and my house, so it's been pretty nasty. But I am taking a break from my water habits to bring you guys another StarCraft 2 broadcast, because this is actually the GameCom Plantronics epic replay for Europe. And if you guys recall me casting about a couple of months ago GameCom Plantronics for North America, essentially they ran a tournament, and they featured the 3 best replays. I think that's what they did. They featured the 3 best replays that they picked out and sent it to me on YouTube so that I could cast it for you guys. And then for the finals, I live casted it on their Justin TV channel. Now, they did the same thing for Europe, and this is their Europe event, and this is one of the 3 epic replays. Now, the winner of this replay actually received a free $100 headset, and this is basically just one of the 3 replays that the guys over at GameCom Plantronics picked out of their tournament and sent over to me. So this is number 1 of 3. I'll be casting 3 total. And then following that, there will be the grand finals broadcast of the tournament live on their Justin TV channel. And you guys can find more info at gamecom.plantronics.com/SC2EU, I believe, or it's /EU, one of those. So check it out. It should be pretty easy for all you internet goers who, you know, everyone these days are so smart with Google and able to find that kind of information out. But if you have any questions, go ahead and just search it, GameCom Plantronics. And getting back to this game at hand here, it looks like the opponents are actually, let's see what they are. Nubsva, which is an interesting name, and IMS does not equal Zekla. Okay, I didn't know you could even do that in your name, the little equal sign and then the vertical slash. That's kind of cool. So it's Nubsva and Zekla. Nubsva, of course, being the blue zerg down in the bottom left-hand corner. The map is GSL Daybreak. Yes, it is. And Zekla is going to be the Protoss at the top right, who has opened up with a Forge Fast Expand. So things looking pretty standard right now. There's nothing too unusual, except I guess for this gas steal that Nubsva decided to go for, which is, yeah, it's kind of interesting. I'm not really a big proponent of stealing the Protoss gas because usually, especially on maps like this where they've already Forge Fast Expanded, because they've got 4 options for gas. They've got the one on the left, the one over here, and then they've got the ones down here. So they've got so many options for gas, and they're not going to take all 4 anyways. That stealing that gas really is kind of a waste of a drone. I mean, I guess you could do it if you feel like your drone's going to die anyways. But that is what Nubsva decided to do, and Zekla, of course, just going to go ahead and grab the gas down with the naturals. So no big loss there. Yeah, game's going on as projected, as we usually expect Zerg versus Protoss to go. Nothing too out of the ordinary thus far. By the way, guys, if you guys were wondering what I have in my aquarium, I only have that little goldfish, which I named Wally. Don't know why. Just thought it was a cute name for him. And so Wally the goldfish is living in my 55-gallon. And I have a couple of Tetras that I bought at PetSmart. And a Dojo Loach or something like that. I know a lot of you guys probably don't really care for aquariums and don't care for fish, and I never really did either prior to finding Wally in the river stream. But I don't know, it's pretty fun. It's pretty rewarding. I might just become a pet guy, and I'll make my own YouTube channel called HD Pets, and then I'll put videos up about my aquarium and my dogs and cats and other interesting things. You know what would be cool as a pet Zergling? That would be really nice to have. So I guess we'll just have to see. Maybe someday they'll breed genetic pet Zerglings so you can take them home. But anyways, let's see what Zekla is doing here. He's got a Stargate coming. All right. So That is kind of interesting. Now, he hasn't mined the third gas here. I guess it is a fourth now because he claimed the one in the natural. But he's essentially only mining 3 gases, and he's going for 1 Stargate here. Now, since he's not occupying the 4th gas, I don't think he's going to throw down a secondary Stargate. No, he's not. So he's just opening up with a single Stargate here, Zekla is, trying to get out a quick Void Ray and harass through the skies. Now, he might go for Phoenix. I would imagine he's going to stick with the Void Ray, though, because it's such... Nope, he's going to go for Phoenixes. I was going to say Void Rays because then he can kind of harass the queens as well, but he is going to stick to a Phoenix or 2 here, and depending on how many gateways he throws down will kind of show his build. Now, the problem though for Protoss players when they open up Stargate and then go into Phoenix is they really do delay their late game tech. They delay Colossus, they delay Templar tech, and delay all the necessary things as well as upgrades, because you got to invest all that gas into the Stargate that you really need to play late game PvZ. So it's gonna come down to whether or not the Protoss player Zekla is gonna be able to do damage to the Zerg player right now, and he's actually gonna go right into Twilight Council as well. It's almost kind of reminiscent of the Phoenix charge lot build that we saw from Noni way back in the days. Don't think that's what he's gonna do, but we'll just have to wait and see. The Zergling did just run up, my little pet Zergling, how cute, and he did not see the Stargate. So the Zerg player right now, Nubsva, has no idea that Phoenixes are out in the air. So there's 3 Phoenix now making their way across the map. No idea that the Phoenixes are up here. And this queen will go down to the 3 Phoenixes, I believe. And there goes the Graviton Beam. The creep spread did not connect the natural to the main, and that is a mistake from Nubsva. He actually doesn't really have any creep tumors at all, except the ones inside the main. So if he had focused on spreading the creep and connecting the 3rd to the nat, then he would have been able to save this 3rd and save the queens and now the ensuing drones. Unfortunately, didn't have the hindsight to do that. Not saying he's a bad player or anything at all, because of course this is the epic replay that GameCom Plantronics sent out to me, meaning that these replays are pretty good, they are pretty high level. So you know, just a small mistake right there. Nubsva actually will lose another queen here. No, the Phoenix is running out of Graviton Beam energy. They just don't have enough, not 3 to kill off more than 1 queen, but they are going to be able to pick off Overlords here. 1 Overlord shall go down. Layers actually very late for the Zerg player. That's very surprising. He really doesn't have any anti-air except for the queens and the 5 spore crawlers that he's erecting right now inside of his 2 bases. That's 3 bases actually. So a super late Lair. I'm not quite sure why his Lair is so late. You know, at 11 minutes, usually that's when Zerg players have their lair finished already, but his lair is only halfway done, and he's lost so many Overlords as a result of that, so Zekla is really pulled far ahead in this game. And I was talking about that before. If you're going to be a Protoss player and you're going to go for the Stargate opening, and then, well, if you're going to go for Stargate opening, period, you have to do some kind of damage with it, because it just sets you so far behind in your late game tech if you don't. So certainly Zekla has been able to do just that. In fact, he's going in for more strike kills here. Look at those 3 Phoenixes flying right in. Bombardiers going ahead. And I think they picked off another Overlord or did some damage right there. And they are going to pull away. But that's the cute thing about Phoenixes. They have this energy that's constantly regenerating. And they can come in at any time and pick off more drones. They can harass the Zerg. And the Zerg has to invest into all these spore crawlers. So Nubsva really falling behind in this game. Look at all of his Overlords now clumped up. Very surprising that he's not researching pneumatized carapace here. Usually, as a Zerg player, if you're taking that much Phoenix damage, it's a good idea to get pneumatized carapace to speed up the Overlord so they can dodge the Phoenix. And now we actually have a ton of roaches coming out. Let's look at that production tab. Wow, he's got 7 more roaches coming to add on to the 19 he's already got on the field. So close to 30 roaches here, ladies and gentlemen. And he's finishing up speed +1/+1 and burrow. So it looks like Nubsva here is going to go for some kind of a roach break at the front door. But I feel like he's taken so much damage this game already. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to really bust through. Now, granted, he will be able to do some damage. That's a lot of roaches, and he does have burrow, and there isn't any observers out yet. But Zekla has Void Rays, and Void Rays, of course, they pretty much straight up counter roaches. Maybe not in low numbers, but eventually if more Void Rays are added on, they will. And I believe Zekla saw the roaches coming out with his Phoenix as well, so he should have a pretty good inkling that roaches are coming, and he does have a robotics facility coming out, so he can get Immortals and Observers very quickly. Here comes Zekla. He is running up into the natural, and you know what? It might just be the other way around completely. Oh, there's Blink. Blink totally counters roaches, and so does the force fields, but too many roaches and zerglings, and the creep spread is too good at the natural, and it looks like Zekla wisely pulls away after expending a lot of his force field energy. He's gonna lose these 3 sentries, which have full energy. Well, now they've expended about half their energy, but at least they saved themselves in the process. But you know, Zekla didn't really need to commit there. That's what I was a little surprised when he pushed up here. I felt like, you know, he can just expand now, play 3-base Protoss, you know, build up on his advantage, capitalize, you know, with the capital C, and get back, not even get back, but get way ahead in this game. And I think that's what he's going to do now. He's going to chill the Xenoga Tower, he's going to sit on 3 bases, and he's going to build up this large Protoss army that Nubsva is going to have a very hard time dealing with. Nubsva now going for a 4th hatchery and a 5th hatchery, so he's going to try to reconcile his losses by double expanding, something that a lot of Zerg players from Europe and North America are quite fond of, including yours truly. And he's also added on Infestors here too, so Roach Infestor Zergling, which is a very powerful mid-game build against Protoss, and it is still somewhat in the mid-game. We are approaching the late game in a couple of minutes here, but you know what? Since Zekla doesn't have any Colossus out yet, Roach, Zergling, Infestor is actually going to be surprisingly powerful against this composition. A couple of key fungal growths and then a flank from the Zerglings can do a lot of damage. And here comes Nubsva. He is running already to the 3rd, and he's found some photon cannons that are an obstacle. They're impeding the Zerglings from doing more damage, and he's going to get inside the mineral line here and use hold position micro, but not really killing that many workers at all. You know, actually, he didn't do much at all. He only killed off 6 workers, and he lost about 24 Zerglings, so I'm not too sure if that was actually worth it from Nubsva's point of view. And now Zekla, these guys' names are classic, Nubsva and Zekla. So now Zekla is pushing out into to the Xenoga Tower once again, just to control the middle of the field. So that's really the advantage you get from controlling the Xenoga Tower on a map like Daybreak. If, you know, Zerglings are coming in and coming around to attack you, it's very easy to pull your Protoss army back and defend. And of course, photon cannons are nice to have as well. So Protoss defends quite easily there, and now our Zerg players, Nubsva, is teching up into Hive, at the same time also getting Spire, and of course that can only mean one thing, and that is Broodlords. He's going to try to get the Greater Spire out as soon as the Spire finishes, and hopefully his timing is key and on point. And now would be a decent time to attack as a Zerg player. My mantra as Zerg is always, if you max out a 200 supply against Protoss or Terran, go trade. Go trade before the Protoss army maxes out. And there's only 1 Colossus here right now, so he should be able to trade pretty well, but that is not the best engage spot, but he gets a huge fungal growth. Oh my god, he's going to lock down the entire Protoss army in place with additional fungal growths. Yes, he will, and he should spit out some infested Terrans as well, just to use that excess energy. But there's that pylon coming in for Zekla, who works in 6 additional Stalkers, and the Stalkers coming into play could be huge, but no, it might not be enough. No, it will not be enough. Those infested Terrans now getting used, you know, just excreting the maximum amount of energy possible from those infestors. But as the infestors retreat, a bunch of them going down, and a Colossus comes out from the reinforcements as well. So Nubsva actually loses the battle. That was quite back and forth there, but there you guys see the power of Protoss reinforcements with that pylon. Man, that pylon gets the MVP, Most Valuable Pylon Award of the day, and unfortunately for Nubsva, he didn't really reinforce there. I didn't see much reinforcements from him at all. He never streamed in additional Zerg units. It was actually kind of pathetic watching his army die. Not pathetic on, you know, on his part, but just like sad to see the Zerg units just die and no reinforcements coming in. That's really the key power of the Zerg. So unfortunate right there for Nubsva. Unable to really take a decisive battle, but still trading somewhat effectively. And Zekla certainly scared now, doesn't want to lose this Nexus. If he can hold on to this Nexus, he's going to be in a great spot. And here comes Nubsva once again with the Roaches and Zerglings. He is going to pound his way in. There's 2 more Colossus coming out though, and Probes are main-arting in. I don't think the Probes will have to be called in to fight, but with 4 Colossus total, this Roach army will get absolutely devastated. Nice micro from Zekla right there, pulling the Colossus back, and loses 1. But honestly, he kept his army alive, he kept his Nexus alive, he kept the very vulnerable Probes as they were main-arting out alive as well. And that battle certainly, I think, went in favor of Zekla. Essentially, a bunch of Roaches trading in there and only getting Colossus as their most primary and key kill. But one thing that you got to commend Nubsva on is he is trying to trade. He is trying to keep that deadly Colossus count down, because we know as Protoss, Terran, or Zerg, as StarCraft 2 lovers worldwide, that a massive Colossus count it can either be very scary or it can be very confidence boosting, morale boosting, if you will. I think a lot of Protoss players definitely, their blood pressure definitely calms down and lowers to an acceptable and tolerable rate once they've got 3 or 4 Colossus plus on the field, and likewise it's vice versa for the Zerg and Terran. And nice play right here from Nubsva. He actually comes into the bottom right, picking off a Nexus, and he is going to get these Zerglings shoving in once again into this huge grid of photon cannons. Not sure if this is exactly going to pay off for him, as those Zealots are warping in, but he did somewhat punch a hole through the photon cannons, so he has kind of softened up the defense here, making it possible to maybe make another attack here, and at the very least going to force Zekla to basically reinvest in defense structure. So not too bad right there from the Zerglings. I guess it could have went better. But Nubsva right now, I think his whole strategy is, whoa, that's a lot of mutas. I was gonna say his whole strategy is trading and buying time until Broodlords, but I look back and he's got a huge flock of mutas. So he's trying to go for that massive muta tech switch that a lot of Protoss are quite concerned about. But there's a lot of stalkers on the field. Zekla has 1-3 stalkers. They do so much damage. The mutas have no upgrades at all, but the stalkers are clumped up. The stalkers immediately blinking back, and it's gonna come down to the mutas versus the stalkers. If the mutas can win against the stalkers, they can kill off the rest of the Colossus. Zekla actually should think about doing something with these Colossus right now, because in a few moments they could be vulnerable to the mutas, and Zekla is trying to use the Phoenix to out-micro the Mutalisks as they're occupying the stalkers, and the Colossus now going to work, realizing that their lifespan could be expiring once those stalkers go down. They have picked off a hatchery, the Colossus have, but there may just be enough stalkers in Phoenix. There are enough stalkers in Phoenix to kill off the mutas. Unbelievable game. Great reinforcements from Zekla. I can't say the same about Nubsva, and you can't really blame him. Mutas are much harder to reinforce than Zerglings and Roaches, and now it may be too much for the Zerg player to handle. He just cannot get enough stalkers to crush enough mutas to crush the stalkers. If only he could have killed off all those stalkers, then those Colossus would have went down so easily, but it did not turn out that way, and Nubsva has to call the GG. So the Protoss player wins the $100 headset. He is basically the victor for this epic replay number 1. And for those of you guys who are wondering how it came about, essentially, the people who registered in this tournament, the Europe GameCom Plantronics, they sent in their replays, and GameCom Plantronics picked out the replays that they thought were the most epic. They sent it in to me, and they gave a free headset to the winner of each one. So congratulations. There is that sneaky Dark Templar. I knew it was coming up somewhere. Congratulations to the Protoss here for winning, and I will have 2 more GameCom Plantronics Europe epic replays coming up today, and following that I'll have the grand finals live broadcasted. If you guys want to find more information about that, it's going up this weekend. You guys can find more information at GameCom Plantronics /SC2EU, and that's pretty much about it, guys. Let's go ahead and go into the second epic replay of this tournament, and I'll be right back. HD signing